seniors are oversampled in these polls. They want pollsters to know their opinion. Old liberals love to tell you their opinions. At this point, they're calling pollsters like, hey, do you want to hear my opinion on this election? That is what we're seeing over and over and over again. I think that's where you're going to sit there and see Trump gain a point nationally is in the senior vote. And that's where states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina could very well easily decided. And none of these polls have the debate, factored in. Kamala very well likely may see a bump because of Trump's very poor performance in the debate last night. But that will, who knows how long that will last for. They typically do not last all the way to election day. So a lot of people who lost their first debate but went on to win the election. Barack Obama, Donald Trump, George W. Bush lost his first debate pretty badly, and they all won their election. So it doesn't mean, it's definite for that it will definitely decide the election.
The answer may be yes, but are Buck and I crazy for looking in the Midwest and saying, just on our belief, I think he and I are aligned on this, old white people in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan in particular are not going to support Kamala as much as they supported Biden. The Scranton Joe appeal, while we may think it was BS based on the way he governed, did persuade some old white moderate voters in those Big Ten states. That's how he won in 2020. There's no, I think there's no way that Kamala gets that same level of support. So this part of this is there a black or Hispanic vote that she's gaining, or could that be dispositive for you in the Midwest?
So there's two groups that will change it for Kamala. One, there are millions of new voters that were not registered to vote 4 years ago that will be tilting heavily towards Kamala. That was a huge factor in the 2022 election, and unfortunately a major issue for them. The second is that there have been 3.3 million new naturalized citizens, legal immigrants, who vote 2.5 or 3 to 1 Democrat since the 2020 election. President Biden ramped up the speed in which people became citizens for a reason. They vote heavily Democrat. During the last few years of Obama's presidency, where he was pushing for refugee resettlement, same way that Biden, where he's pushing for refugee resettlement, is oftentimes in swing states. So that's why you see huge clusters of migrant voters going to swing state places where you're like, this isn't weird. It's not like there's a huge Haitian population in Springfield, Ohio. No, they're being purposely put into swing states.
Ohio?
3.3 million new people who could vote, who will overwhelmingly be voting Democrat, as well as a million new Gen Z voters, will definitely play a huge factor in it. The thing that they need to sit there and to change that is they need to increase voter turnout among non-college educated whites. Non-college educated whites have and I've said this on your show before, have the worst voter participation among any demographic except for recent immigrants. They do not vote in high numbers. If they voted as often as whites with a college degree did, Oregon would be a red state. It wouldn't even be a close election. Virginia would be a red state. It's just a matter of turnout. Trump is going to improve performance among Hispanics and among Asians and among blacks. But this election is boiled down to the white vote. Do whites without a college degree turn up? Do they show up for Trump? And do they feel like Kamala does not have their best interests?
What do you think is the most important vote that the Trump campaign can have between now and Election Day, so that we don't have a super sad day coming up in November where we have to rely on and have a big cry session?
I think that Kamala Harris, at the age of 60, had a major life event where she changed all of her beliefs overnight. Trump could have cornered her on all those things. And I'm not talking about just fracking, which was the issue they brought up over again. She was radical on things like reparations.
617.
Enormously unpopular.
617.
Kamala Harris supported a multi-trillion-dollar reparation plan for the descendants of slaves. This is something that's overwhelmingly not only opposed by white voters, but it's opposed by Asians and Hispanic voters who feel like they were never part of the Civil War or anything that followed it. I would bring up that. I would bring up the fact that she was very radical on a number of issues, from taxes to the Green New Deal, to gun confiscation, she had a major life change in 1,000 days where she changed all of her fundamental beliefs. She went from being a Bernie Sanders Democrat to being, a pro-choice George W. Bush Republican in 1,000 days when she is close to being a senior citizen. Life transformations don't usually happen at that age that quickly. But for some reason, she did. And I think cornering her on who she actually is, who is the real Kamala Harris, is the essential thing. Because the beliefs that she had in 2019 were so unpopular, not even Democrats would vote for her. And that's what you need to, and that's why she's running basically as a pro-choice Republican nowadays. I mean, she's about military, about cutting spending, about, increasing child tax credit. It's
about building a wall. Yeah. She wants to build a wall, right?
She wants to build a wall. I mean, this is the new Kamala Harris. A 1,000-day life transformation. It's never been seen before, and I think exposing that is what you need to sit there and say.
You mentioned young voters. Taylor Swift endorses right after the debate. It's clearly staged, but what is the impact of someone like Taylor Swift? Do you buy into celebrity endorsements moving anything?
I mean, back when celebrity was a real thing, like when Oprah endorsed Obama, it was a real thing. But media was much more organized around very few people, what real celebrities were. Taylor Swift is a real celebrity. I don't know I don't know what appeal Taylor has with especially young people, the way that maybe people older think it is. Taylor Swift's almost middle-aged. I mean, she's not 21 anymore. She's not Charlie XCX or people that younger people are always listening to.
Look at you dropping TikTok knowledge.
No, but she's been around for 2 decades. She's not a young person. She's young, relatively young, but she's not young. She's not a 21-year-old who excites people. And media is not where everyone watched the same 9, 10 things, and that was how we consume media. I don't know how much appeal it has. I looked at people that I knew on Instagram who maybe I didn't know their opinions or what they liked, who liked it. Everyone I know who I saw who liked it, I knew was a liberal who was voting for her. So I don't know if that really, will change anyone's vote. Maybe it will motivate some people to go out and get out and vote. She's clearly not campaigning for her as of anything I've ever